Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Modern Knights podcast. I am your host, Luke Jones. With me is my co-host,
Nico Calderella.
He's back in studio again, gentlemen. Let's give a round of applause. He's back. He's back.
I have
great.
returned.
He is returned. We are going to be starting a series on being a warrior. So just to give you guys a quick kind of overview of how we're thinking this series is going to go, is we're going to take the concept of a warrior and we're going to break it down as far as we're able to. And then we're going to reconstruct that idea and then we're going to compare it to the Bible. So for this episode, for instance, does not really have a biblical verse that we're like going off of. I say biblical verse like there's a verse. There's not a verse. There's not a verse is what I'm saying. If you follow along with my horrible English, good job. You probably have a real high IQ. With that being said, let's get into this episode.
Let's do it.
All right. So first thing that we're going to be talking about in this series, where you all know I like questions. I like to define things. So we're going to ask a question. What is a warrior? We're going to not make our own little Matt Walsh documentary. We're not going to answer the question what a woman is, but we are going to try to figure out what a warrior is. So my definition of a warrior, and I don't know if you have one or one that, may differ some or maybe differ a lot. I don't know. But my definition of a warrior is a persistent protector who doesn't ever quit, who relentlessly protects those that God has entrusted to his care from evil in all forms, whether it's saying no to the family watching a movie, right? Because it's overly sexual, or whether it's saying no to going to that theme park because there's a pride festival going on there, or whether it's, a physical violent protector who is protecting his wife or sister or some other female person from getting mugged. A protector protecting can look a lot of different ways is what I'm trying to say. So before we continue on, do you have a different definition of a protector? I'm curious.
I don't, but I do know we mentioned before that we're seeing men, like in masculinity, what our podcast is all about, biblical masculinity. We're seeing men's masculinity drop at a serious rate. And we need more biblical men to step up. As we mentioned many, many times on this podcast, we need more men to step up and be that protector, be that provider of the family.
Yep. And again, we've said it before. Ladies will say it a million more times. That does not mean you can't work a job if you want to. Your biblical and biological role is to be the homemaker.
Yeah.
Right? But if you want to fit a job into there, more power to you.
Feel free.
So, moving on from that, I wanted to focus on the persistent aspect in being a warrior. I'm reminded of that scene in Captain America.
You don't give up, do you? Nope.
That's what a warrior is. Honestly, Captain America was a great movie before Disney went down the drain and took Marvel with it.
Yep.
But Captain America, he's actually a real good
example.
That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Example of a warrior and a protector. He never buckled. He never did the wrong thing. He never compromised his moral values. And bonus points. And Captain America said the one line in the MCU: There's only one God, ma'am, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that. So shout out to Captain America.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
awesome. Not shouting out to Chris Evans, though, because you need Jesus, buddy.
Yep.
But it's all right, because we all do. So
Yep.
there's room at the table for one more. Come on.
Yeah.
Moving on. How do we develop perseverance? I am part of the Apogee Strong group. I think I've mentioned this before. Maybe not, but I think I have. It's a mentorship group for young men that was founded by Mr. Matt Badro and Mr. Tim Kennedy. And that's one of the things that they harp on is doing hard things. As a matter of fact, there's a reading list that we had, and one of the books, which I actually, oddly enough, read it before I was even in that group in back in high school. It's called "Do Hard Things" by, I believe it's Alex and Brett Harris. We'll see if we can find it and put the link in the description. It was a good book, and the whole idea is, obviously in the title, doing hard things, right? So it's like, okay, do hard things, cool. But it doesn't mean just do hard things whenever they happen to come up, right? Whenever you have to move this big heavy object, then you do the hard thing when it's a non-negotiable. Do the hard thing before it's a non-negotiable. Intentionally choosing to do something hard, for instance, working out, betters you every single time. And then when those non-negotiable hard times where it's like, yeah, you have no other option but to go through this hard time, it's going to suck. They prepare you for those hard times, and they make those hard times that much easier. So to stick with the example, if I never worked out and then all of a sudden I had to move this massive water heater and drag it up a flight of stairs, life is going to suck, right? But if I've been consistently going to the gym for the last, even several weeks, if not several months, and I'm working out, I'm in good shape, eating right, is it still going to suck to drag the water heater up? Probably, because, having done that before, there's just no way to make that not suck.
Yeah.
But it's going to suck a lot less if your body is physically capable of moving that weight and is used to moving large, heavy weights continuously.
Yeah. And I've actually had experience with that now because as you guys know from the last video, I tore my meniscus, and I was completely non-weight bearing on my left leg for 6 weeks. So in school, I was just doing upper body workouts and making my upper body more strong. And then as I got back to stepping and moving on it, I actually had to lift a bunch of things for my coaches and stuff. And I lifted them and I was like, wow, this surprisingly is not hurting my leg. Well, it's because I was using all the upper body strength I built over the time of being not weight bearing on the leg to carry the object. So it's shameable promotion.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Go to the gym and lift weights.
Go to the gym. We say shameless plug like we own a gym. We don't. But go to the gym, work out, lift weights. It's good for you. Being a martial artist, that's something that's also really harped on there is do hard things. I am a brown belt in American Kempo Karate. So my next belt is black. And I don't say that to brag. I just say that to be like, hey, yeah, I promise it's hard. And there's times that I do not feel like training. And the times that I don't train end up really hurting me. But if I train consistently, then I'm able to not just perform better, but for one, I remember all the moves a lot better. The way our tests work is there's a lot of memorization in there.
Yeah.
And if you don't prep for that test, which is a great example of a hard thing, if you don't put yourself through the hard thing of practicing when you don't want to practice, you're not going to be ready for that test that you're going to inevitably have to go through if you want to progress. And that goes for any martial arts system. So it's super, super important in all areas of life that we find ways to do hard things. If it's being emotionally intelligent, right?
Yep.
Find a way to educate yourself on emotional intelligence, and then put your I don't want to say like put yourself in situations that will like make you have to practice it, but like find ways to practice it. Just make sure you're being smart about it. Don't go like create a bad situation for you to practice remaining calm in. That's not a good idea. But like, and here's one. If you're arguing with your siblings, right, and you're having a fight with them over whatever it is, and you're trying to become more emotionally intelligent, control your emotions and such, remain calm under pressure, that's a great way to do it right there. Everyone fights with their siblings. If you don't fight with your siblings, you either are delusional or you don't have siblings. So those are your options there. Anyone who's like, I'm best friends with my siblings, we never fight, that's a bunch of baloney.
Yeah.
I will never believe a single word out of your mouth until you say otherwise.
Yeah.
Because I know you lying.
Man. It's this is a little bit off topic, but I mean kind of this one of my friends came up to me and I was wearing my John Reddick t-shirt and he asked me, he was like, "So you're a Christian, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "So is your life like all rainbows and is it all good?" And I'm like,
Is it
I'm
all
like,
rainbows and butterflies? Are you like a unicorn?
That's not exactly how it works. We did an episode on suffering earlier.
Like matter of fact,
Yeah.
Jesus actually said,
And I told him, I said, "Yeah, no, that's not how it works. Actually, my life is kind of off and on because of the fact that I am a follower of God, and the devil is always trying to just nag at you and trying to get you. But you gotta resist temptation. You gotta say no, and you gotta continue on with your life. But it does say in the Bible, there's gonna be trials and tribulations that come your way, and you have to overcome them with Christ."
yeah. I mean, heck, there's a whole book in the Bible dedicated to the suffer. Well, I guess if you think about it, there's several books. The one I'm thinking of in particular is Job, right? I love Jordan Peterson's interpretation of the story of Job. I'll see if I can find the video and put it in the episode. But he talks about people who say that Christians or any other religious people use religion as a scapegoat for death. He talked about the story of Job and basically summed it up in God saying like, yeah, you better prepare yourself because I'm coming after you. I'm going to test you, right? You don't get to just waltz through this life and everything go your way. Life is hard and you need to build strength. And if you read the book of Job, you see like that's pretty much exactly what happened. Is everything happened in Job because Satan came and said, "Hey, Job doesn't really love you," and God said, "I think otherwise." But so let's test him. And so God and the devil literally make a bet, and God tells Satan, "You can do whatever you want to Job, but you cannot kill him."
Yep.
And well, originally it was you cannot touch him, and then Satan came back after he killed Job's not siblings, children, took away all of his wealth, and then went back to God. And God was like, "Hey, look who's still standing." And Satan went skin for skin. If you let me touch him, then he's gonna curse you to your face. I'm willing to bet it. And God said, "All right, fine. You can inflict him with whatever pain and suffering you want, but do not kill him." And so the devil went and he inflicted him with boils, disease. He made his life Job's life was hell on earth. We've had hard lives. Few people have had hard lives as hard as Job. Job's life was hell on earth. twofold.
Mhm.
All right. And even still, he did not curse God. Now he asked God. He questioned, like, why is this happening to me? What have I done? What is my crime against you? And God ended up coming to Job and basically saying, "Hey, here's the deal. I'm God. I will do whatever I want. And if I want to test you, I'm going to test you." Um, as we talked about in our episode on suffering, that testing and suffering that God sends our way, it produces perseverance, and that
Mhm.
perseverance builds character, and that character builds hope. And so I can hear it now. People are gonna be like, "Oh, so God hates us. Well, then if God hates us so much, why should we, love God and serve God and blah 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 blah?" And sit down and shut up. All right, you don't know. You don't even. You can't even begin to comprehend what you're talking about when you can't even follow a God, let alone Jesus Christ. So, men, we were designed to be protectors. Right, we're the ones designed to go to war. We're the ones designed to work and protect, and we need to tell the feminists to shove their ideology where the sun don't shine, and pull up our boots and do what we were created to do. Because if we don't, if there's any hope of saving our nation, of which I think that hope is unfortunately dimming more and more each day.
Yeah.
Um, but if there's any hope of saving it, we have to act quickly and be men. We need to stand up and proclaim that one nation under God is our demand,
Mhm.
with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah.
Right? We need to demand the 10 Commandments be put back in schools and courtrooms. We need to demand that the Bible be put back into the school curriculum like it once was. Our nation was so great. And people wonder, well, why are we so terrible now? Why are we so this? Why are we so that? Well, what did we do differently in recent days that we weren't doing or did the exact opposite of back when we were the powerhouse of the earth? And the biggest things that we did differently is we had a God that unified us, that whom we all loved and served, at least for the most part. But and the other thing that stemmed from that was that we had a moral code.
Yeah.
That whether we believed in God or not, even the atheist agreed that, abortion is murder, to kill a baby is wrong, or it's wrong to steal. Whether or not they could back it up, they had the law of God written on their hearts, in the form of their conscience that they listened to. And they grew up having those same morals taught to them in school, at their home, that said, there is an ultimate right and there is an ultimate wrong. And ultimately, you will answer to someone or something for the choices that you make. And so we need to be persistent and push back against the evil, woke narrative, agenda, ideology, all the words that you can throw in to describe it. And we need to persistently protect our families, and each other, and the church. We need to nurse ourselves back to health so that we can go and help others. In the same way that, in an airplane, when they're going through the safety briefing, every airline says, "Hey, if oxygen masks pop down, put on yours first before you help someone else put on theirs." Right? You need to have your own source of oxygen so that you can think clearly and stay alive and breathing before you help someone else get theirs.
Yeah. And as you said, we've seen our nation slowly start to dim away from God. Yet, I believe it was Ronald Reagan that said it.
And without God, democracy will not and cannot long endure. If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation going under.
Yep.
And we see that becoming true today. They're trying to take God out of schools, out of just the government in general. And no offense, but we are a struggling nation right now. We really need to pray that our nation gets healed and gets brought back to where we need it to be.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about this when we were going through the Thinking Like a Christian series. The reason why the government has tried to kick God out of schools and out of the family and so on and so forth is there's three pillars for a functional society: the family, the church, and the state. The state, the government, right? The government or the state has taken over the family's realm of influence and power by being the one to practically raise our kids day in and day out for 8 hours a day. Most of the kids in this nation are in the care of the state in the public school systems, being indoctrinated. Parents are sending their kids off to Caesar and being shocked when their kids are coming back Romans, right? So that's one major shift that needs to change. And then the other thing is the state is kicking God out of everything because if the government or the state can take over the church, it can therefore take over God. But if there's a God, that means that the government who is comprised of people and is in fact not God or even a God, the state is then answerable to this higher power. But the state doesn't want to be answerable to anyone. I mean, already the state's supposed to be answerable to we the people here in America, and it's already undermining us. It's flipped the narrative so that the state controls us instead of us controlling the state, and that then leaves God over the government. And obviously, the government can't kill God, but if the government can create the illusion that God does not exist or never has existed, then the government then becomes the ultimate governing authority, thereby the source for the moral code, the ultimate definer of right and wrong, the ultimate judge. It automatically assumes all that power of godhood, or at least as much as it could in reality attain, for whatever temporary amount of time, because in the absence of God, there's a vortex, a vacuum that is created in the moral structure of society that has to be filled. And if it's not filled with something good, it will inevitably be filled with something evil.
Yeah. And another shameless plug, the God's Not Dead movie series is they just came out with a new one recently in, I believe, September 12th.
They did?
And yeah,
I didn't know about
the
this.
fourth
I didn't even
one.
know they're making one.
Yeah, they just came out with one September 12th this month. And me and my mom went to go see it. It is amazing. It's amazing. It talks all about what we're talking about right now. And the last two ones have been mainly about the government, and they've just been like straight truth about what's going on in our government right now and how we need to pray that God has mercy over our government and God helps us fix our government. Because I do like what our pastor Mark though says, it's not falling apart, it's falling into place.
Yep.
And I really like that because the Bible, everything in the Bible is just it's happening right now. The prophecies, they're happening. So I mean, if someone looks and actually reads the Bible, not skims through it, but reads the Bible and says God's not real, you got to be delusional.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's all I got. Got anything else?
I don't.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this up by giving a little recap. Men, we are called to be warriors. A warrior is a persistent protector who never stops protecting and defending the truth, what is right. He stands against what is wrong. And I know we didn't really touch on those, but we're going to in future episodes. So don't worry. Come back and stay tuned.
We got a series planned for you guys.
Yes. But again, be persistent, protect persistently, put yourself through hard things so that you can prepare yourself for the hard times that will inevitably come and square up at you.
And I've had a couple of people at church come up to me, women that are watching our podcast, which is amazing. And they're like, how do I get this on the TV so that my husband will watch it so I can show him? Because if you're a woman on this podcast, we want you to show your husband, your kid, your teenagers.
Yep.
We want you to show them this because we're trying to create that biblical masculine man and create it back to what it used to be. So please show your family this podcast.
To answer that question, if there's any women out there or any guys really who are like wondering, how do I put this on like my TV? If your TV can get YouTube, whether it's a smart TV, whether it's through a game console, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever, you can go onto YouTube and then just YouTube the Modern Nights podcast, and there's not another podcast with a name even remotely similar to ours. So we should be the first thing that comes up.
Yep.
And
you'll see our beautiful faces.
Yep. And you can just pick and choose. It's going to be Candyland at that point. Just click on the channel, and whichever episode you want, it's going to be right there.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. With that, we are going to move on to our fact and joke of the week.
All right. We're going to be doing a new segment today, and it's an oldie but a goodie, and it's Culturing Luke. We didn't actually tell him we were doing this, so
you didn't, and I'm kind of mad that you took my intro from me, but at the same time I'm also very surprised that this segment's happening. This was discussed, I don't remember if it was mentioned on February. Okay, sometime in February this was discussed, because for those of you who don't know, I'm homeschooled, and stereotypically homeschoolers are uncultured, and I'm not like the most uncultured person, but I'm not exactly the most cultured person either. So they decided to create this segment where they were going to make up for my lack of culture called, again, Culturing Luke. So this is, I'm either going to love this or I'm going to hate this. So
we pretty much just grab
a strength,
couple of random videos and just show Luke and show him what it's like to be just one of those, I guess, kids that go to public school. So... and that own TikTok and Facebook.
Normal.
And
I have Facebook. I don't have
and
TikTok.
Instagram and all
I have Instagram too.
Well, all the social medias.
I just don't have TikTok.
We're going to show them the first video, and it'll be on the screen for you guys, I believe. So
it will be.
My boy Moses right here about to open the way for us.
Open sesame! Guy must have changed the password.
Okay, so I've actually seen that before. I don't remember where I first saw it, but I've seen that before, and that was absolutely hilarious. That is also an oldie but a goodie.
And then I got the second video.
Timmy's dying wish.
To live.
I lived.
Very short videos, but they're really funny. So
Make-A-Wish Foundation, what's your wish? To live.
Okay.
Best I can do is meet a police officer. You want to settle for that, kid? Or, what's that's bad. That's terrible. The Lord's frowning on me for that one.
Okay. So I actually don't know if we use this one, but we might have. But if we did, you guys probably wouldn't.
It's getting hard to keep track at this point.
So ketchup was once used as a medicine in the 1830s.
Really?
Yes. Tomato ketchup was sold as a medicine to cure ailments like diarrhea, indigestion, and I think jaundice.
What?
Yeah.
All right. So that's interesting that I didn't realize ketchup used to be a medicine.
Yeah.
So moving on to our joke of the week, we have a video for you guys that Nico and I are going to watch in studio, and you guys are going to watch because Chuggles is awesome, and he's going to find a way to put it in here.
Yep. By the way, while he's finding that, our editor, Chuckles, he's amazing. He's been helping us out with audio, video, everything, publishing the podcast, and he's been doing a fantastic job on it.
He's
and
been doing a great job. Also, shout out to Trent, our newest
yes.
tech member. He's, we already kind of brought him on, so you all saw his beautiful face and the lights and whatnot. That's all his doing. But he's also taking a role in editing and such now. So he's been doing the verses. So shout out to Trent as well.
Thank you.
And y'all are awesome. You guys are real ones. Now to the video.
Hey, Joe, what you looking up there?
There's so many regular people out there in the world that are so fun.
Yeah, they are.
So this dude's name is Nick Freitas, and Green Beret, combat veteran. So, but look at this tweet that I sent you, Jamie. I can't believe this is a topic. The left, no one is eating people's pets, which means we're 1 week away from why do you care that people are eating pets, 3 weeks from why eating pets is a good thing, and 4 weeks from refusing to eat pets is white supremacy.
No, he's got it. He nailed it. He nailed it.
Hey, fair enough. That was pretty spot on. But I'm sorry right now. I know that Nick Freitas guy is kind of a dork.
Yeah, Nick Freitas is funny, but he is a great example of being a persistent warrior and standing up for what's right and standing against what's wrong. He is. I wish he was in the federal Congress and not just the Virginia House of Representatives.
Yeah.
But you know what? We'll take good guys wherever we can get them, wherever they're at. So shout out to Nick Freitas. He's a dope dude. Hope to have him on the podcast one day. So all right, with that. You got anything else to add?
I do not.
You don't? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, again, unless you're driving, hats off, bowed heads, eyes closed.
Hat hair.
Protect the hair. Lord, thank you for this day. I pray that this message spoke to at least someone out there, Lord. I pray that it would motivate someone to persevere and to learn to do hard things. And I pray that you would bless this series that we are embarking on being a warrior and how that aligns with your word. I pray that you would give us all wisdom and clarity. And I pray that you would bless the message and that it is the message that you want us to put out. Lord, we love you. I pray that we would serve you full-heartedly for all of our days. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
That was easy.